Thank you for joining the Asheville Rise Stronger Together podcast. This is your host, Jessica Knupp with the Asheville Area Chamber of Commerce. I hope you enjoy today's episode. This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, TruePoint Bank. Hi everyone, today we're here with Jordan Doty from Asheville Free Walking Tours, and I'm so glad that you're able to be here with us today. I love your concept. I love everything that you do. I've actually been on one of the tours, and I still drive by places and I'm like, I had no idea that was secretly like placed on a bench. So I highly encourage everyone to take one of these tours. So Jordan, tell us about your business, how you got started, all the things.
Yeah, so Asheville Free Walking Tours was started because I used to do these tip-based tours all over Europe. That was kind of my thing, so I lived there for a little while, and I used to go to the cities all over Europe, and I was on a tour in Vienna, Austria, and halfway through I thought, I could do this. Like, maybe I should do this. And so I came back and found out that Asheville didn't have anything quite like it and started it up myself. Yeah. That was October of 2019, so not the best timing, well, but here we are. We didn't know, disaster number one. But so basically what we do is we have a downtown tour, a River Arts tour, a West Asheville tour pending. That one's kind of on pause for the moment.
Okay.
A ghost tour and a music history tour. And it's a lot. But our downtown and our River Arts District tours are tip-based. So that's why it's called Asheville Free Walking Tours. So it's all tip-based, so you pay what you think it's worth in the end.
Wow.
And it's one of those models that when I originally introduced it, most people in the States were like, what do you mean? You can't do a free tour? And I was like, well, actually, turns out you can.
Yeah.
But it's a really great way to get people to kind of come test it out, right? Like, there's no initial buy-in. You're like, all right, well, if it's terrible, then it's free, whatever, it's fine. Turns out it's not terrible. It's great. People love it, and they end up a lot of times tipping more than they would have even paid for a walking tour to begin with. Right. So it's a lot of fun, and it's a great motivator for all of my wonderful guides because they give great tours and they make good tips.
Yeah. So how many people usually go on one of the tours? Is it like, do you have it, maybe it's depending
like
on
capped,
the tour?
Yeah. So it actually ranges from 2 to 20.
Okay.
So I would say on average you're looking at more like 8 to 12.
Okay.
But that's our range. We will go for 2. But we cap it at 20 because it gets a little bit too, if it gets bigger than that, it's kind of impersonal.
Right.
A lot of times the guides aren't able to actually connect with each of the guests, and or it's kind of hard to hear.
Right. I was thinking as you're standing on a sidewalk trying to listen or look, 20 people, that could be a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, Asheville sidewalks are not huge. Like, that would just, no one wants that. So yeah.
Obviously a very tourist-based business. Yeah. I do encourage locals to take advantage as well.
Yes.
But how did that look? Like, I mean, what did you guys, how did you guys get through all that?
Well, it's a great question. So, I mean, as everyone knows, fall is our big season, and unfortunately, or fortunate, I don't know, whatever, we were looking great for October, like almost booked out, which is rare to book out in the free tours. Usually you've got some space, but so we did a major halt for the rest of the year. Technically we opened up a little bit in December, but as with most, like there really wasn't much happening. And kind of since then I have had to shut down the West Asheville tour for now. And then the River Arts District tour, that one obviously has shifted significantly.
Right.
So the RAD tour originally was, interestingly enough, already kind of a flood tour. Mm-hmm. So the flood of 1916 was kind of how the Red came to be what it is now, because it started as a very much an industrial area, a lot of factories and things.
Right.
The flood of 1916 left it in some ways abandoned, or at least a lot of the buildings were kind of pending what they were going to be used for, and artists moved in. So my original tour was very flood related, and now it is even more flood related, as one would guess. So we've restructured it quite a bit now. We don't go into the foundry area, which is what we used to do, but or foundry area. But we talk a lot about how the flood has impacted the area. We even, give people kind of an idea as to what happened that weekend. But we also talk a lot about all the artists who are there now and who are thriving, and the way that the community really just bound together. And now there's a lot of artists who are even displaying each other's works in their galleries, the galleries that survived, or putting pieces of other artists who lost their space. And so it's a really cool way of seeing how artists are so resilient. Right. And I think it's a really good tour now. I think there's still there's a lot of story to tell, and it's really exciting when people do actually get to join in it. We are also launching a new venture.
Oh, what is this? Tell us more.
So it is a excuse me. It is an outdoor escape room.
Oh.
Now, I know that sounds a bit bizarre.
We're already outdoors. How are we going to escape?
Right. Well, that's the question, right? So, it is essentially like a combination of a scavenger hunt meets an escape room.
Okay.
So it's very like puzzles and riddles and things, but it also simultaneously takes you all around Asheville. You get to see some really cool sights, but really excited about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, do you have to get in your car? Or you
no, so it is still walking, but you're gonna have like an iPad that will kind of walk you, or like where you're gonna go. There's holograms and secret lock boxes hid all over town.
How did you come up with this?
So it's actually through a company that reached out to me trying to partner. It's called Clutivity, and so it's around the world, actually. But then when you bring it into your city, then you make it your own, which is what I'm obviously doing. And I will be incorporating some of my tour information as well, and adding some like Asheville history, and then my love and knowledge of the architecture and the stories behind a lot of what people would be seeing will also be incorporated in. So I think it's going to be a really cool merger.
Yeah, that's really neat. So I know one of the things, as we were going through the hurricane, one of the things that we did at the chamber, we reached out to our members to see kind of like what they needed, or what or maybe what you had that you could give, or just to kind of connect our members to each other. And as I was looking through the list, and we've talked about this before, I got to your name and it said to fix the cemetery, and I was like, is this a joke? Like, what is Jordan talking about? Like, I didn't put two and two together what you're doing. So you also have, that's back.
That is officially back, which is very exciting. Yeah, so the reason for my desire for the cemetery.
I called you immediately. I was like, what is happening?
So our ghost tour is actually the only ghost tour that I know of that operates in the cemeteries in Asheville. So we go through Riverside Cemetery, and during the storm, Riverside was actually pretty rough. Like, we had so many trees that fell. So there was a lot of work to be done before they could reopen it to the public. And in fact, we had a couple of tours that it was like, oh yeah, we're going to go. And then the trees and the gates and everything was blocked. So I was hoping that the cemetery would be revived, and it is.
Yes.
So
I'd love to say that I helped with that.
You did. You totally did.
You
brought awareness.
Literally was like, what? I didn't put two and two together at the time, but I can see the need that you needed. I mean, it's your business, and that's what we were doing. Yep. So with the way you're structured, like, how did it look for your staff and your everybody that you work with?
Yeah. So the way that my staff is absolutely the Ashevilleist staff ever, right? So everyone has 3 jobs, at a minimum. I got a lot of really great artsy folks. I got some who are actors and some who are in the art world and some folks who are kind of semi-retired and working in restaurants. So everyone was very much struggling, right? Because all of those things were shut down and or ended completely. So I unfortunately did lose quite a few staffers to other cities. Thankfully everyone was safe, but a lot of folks did end up having to move away or get different types or styles of jobs. Sure. So that part has been really, really sad and really hard. I will say, once we were able to actually communicate with each other, which obviously took some time as well, everyone was very supportive of each other, so it's really nice. People were messaging saying like, hey, if anybody needs a shower or if anyone needs, I have this, I have power, I have gas. And so that was really cool to see, because my staff doesn't actually see each other very often.
They're doing separate things.
Right,
so
right.
This probably was an opportunity to kind of, as a team, kind of support each other through that. Exactly. Yeah.
And they've been really, like, kind of even since then, there's a lot more messaging of like, oh, I found this out, or this is happening, and this is so. It is kind of cool because it has created a little bit more of an interconnected team than was before.
Yeah, sometimes there is a light, like you can kind of, even though we went through something so hard.
Yeah.
So as far as like keeping the business going, like what, like from a business standpoint, like what are some of the things that you had to like kind of put in place or work on to kind of keep that going through those months?
Yeah, that wasn't easy. I will say I did get the grant, the Mountain BizWorks grant, which was great, and Chamber. So that was incredibly helpful. And like we really did just kind of have to shut down. So I wasn't able to pay my staff, and so they were all kind of scrambling as well. So I mean, truly it was we had to cut a lot of our expenditures, and like I said, I have had to like pull back on some of the other tours and do some side hustling, as one does in Asheville, like I said. But I think also, thankfully when people have come into town, they have been generous, because I think people know that we've been through a lot, and so when people have shown up, they have shown up in a really cool way. So that's been encouraging.
Yeah. Have you noticed a particular like area that people are coming from? I just was curious, like, I don't know if you capture that type of data.
I do, but it hasn't changed as much as I would kind of expect. I mean, I always have my Florida folks, and then a lot of, weekenders who are coming in, a lot of South Carolina and from other parts of North Carolina. Ohio and Michigan is also quite a big group, which is an interesting, but we have actually had quite a few international groups this year, which I find very interesting. Which it does make sense, right? Because the model is a European model, and so Europeans,
so they're used to that.
Absolutely, and Europeans do know to look for the free walking tours. That's part of their nature, and so when they come here and they find it, they're always like, "Oh, that's so cool." Actually, I recently had a group that had 7 different countries represented. So that's always fun. You get to, you don't always notice how much of an international community exists in Asheville, but these tours generally do bring them all together.
Yeah. That is so neat. I just love that you're able to kind of create that community and educate people when they're here about all the cool stuff that we have, that you might not even notice. So you'll definitely have to take the tour. Absolutely. I bet you'll notice some things that you didn't know.
100%.
Well, I really, like, going through all of this, like, anything that you have implemented, to kind of, like, moving forward, like, through this process?
That's a good question. I think maybe, I guess all of what it has taught is to be ever flexible.
Right.
And so creating new styles of tours, or new, things like this escape room, something that is a little bit different, but also still kind of works in the same vein. Even with this escape room, we also will have an option for bigger groups, so like conferences.
Oh, nice.
I'll also be able to take this to the conference, and they can do them at the conference itself. That will obviously be a little bit different. That will not be outdoor. That will be indoor.
So like you would customize it for the group, kind of?
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they'll be able to do it like in the conference room. They can get into teams and then figure out all of these puzzles and riddles and things without having to be going all over town.
Yeah.
So again, a way to diversify are like the people who are coming into Asheville. Maybe it's not all tourists who are walking outside, because sometimes the weather is bad.
Right. I mean, we do.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
it happens, Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is really neat.
Mhm.
That's really cool. So we'll have to be looking forward to that. Kind of like a team building type
Exactly.
thing.
Very much like that.
Yeah.
Very much like
Or
that.
even like a end of year type of something.
Christmas parties,
Yeah.
like employee appreciation things,
Yeah.
any kind of so that would also cater, I think, pretty well to the local community,
Yeah.
which is something else that I learned. I during all of this, Cultivated Cocktails talked about how they had to shut down their downtown location, which was devastating because they were some of my big partners in downtown. But they're out off of like towards Fairview. They're not in Fairview, but towards Fairview, and they named that like their clientele there is all locals.
Mhm.
And so they out there were doing completely fine. It was just the ones that were only focused on tourism. And so I think I'm obviously still very much focused on tourism. However, I think that there's a way to really like engage with the locals and create things that local Ashevilleans really will enjoy as well. Although, like you said, the tours are great for locals too,
Yeah.
but I think it makes it a little
We
easier.
we live in a really cool area, and a lot of times we don't take advantage
Right.
of all of those things. We've lived here for X amount of years, or we grew up here,
Yeah.
and we're like, oh, I know about that,
Oh, me
or I'll do that later and put
Mhm.
it off. But I mean, we have such a cool collaborative business environment, and
Yes.
and we need to take advantage of it more, like a staycation, or
Absolutely. We have the
Yeah.
perfect city for
yes,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, and also, who doesn't love a ghost story? Like, there's no way people know the ghost stories in all of Asheville, even
Right.
if you're from here.
I know I
Check out the
don't, but I don't.
You're a little scared.
I'm a little
I get
scared.
it.
I'm a little scared. You lost me ish at the
That's
cleaning
fair.
of the cemetery. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it.
But you would just be a little scared.
Might not sleep for a few days.
Well, sleep is kind of
Yeah.
important. Maybe let's stick with the other ones on your opinion.
But I love the variety that you have.
Thank you.
For people like me that
Yes.
might be a little scared. But I love the variety and the way that you can offer different things to different people.
Mhm.
So with that said, if people are looking to book or find out more about you, where can we find your information?
So I'm on, all the major, Facebook, Instagram. I also, my website, all of it is found through Asheville Free Walking Tours.
Okay.
So those keywords make it simple. Asheville Free Walking Tours. And we're also on Airbnb and TripAdvisor and all that fun stuff. So
Oh, so when they book, they can find
Yeah.
out about you. Awesome. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Jordan, we really appreciate you being here with us
Yeah.
today. We're so glad to learn more about your business, and thank you for all you're doing for the Asheville community and educating people as they come to visit us or even live here. And we really appreciate it. So
Likewise. Thanks so much for having me.
thank you. If you enjoyed today's episode, like, comment, and subscribe. To learn more about joining the Asheville Chamber, scan the QR code on your screen or visit ashevillechamber.org. Until next time.